Hi, and welcome back to Moonamind. Today, we're diving into one of the most privileged assumptions in child development research, the positive effects of travel. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and save so you can share this with your friends later. So, first of all, let me be clear. I'm not here to judge or criticize other creators' content. I genuinely appreciate when people share research that gets parents thinking about child development. But I am here to ask the questions that often get missed when we take research at face value. This creator mentioned a study from the Journal of Travel Research showing these amazing benefits for children who travel regularly. And that's actually a credible source. It's a peer-reviewed academic journal published by Sage with a solid impact factor. So we're not dealing with made-up statistics here. But here's what I've learned from years of studying child development research. The most important question isn't whether the correlations exist, it's what's actually causing them. Because when we look closer at who has access to regular travel and what else comes with that access, the picture gets a lot more complicated. The families whose children are traveling regularly aren't just different because they travel. They're different in dozens of other ways that we know profoundly impact child development. And that changes everything about how we should interpret these findings. These families typically have higher household incomes, they have more flexible work hours, or the kind of jobs that allow for extended time off. They're more likely to have higher levels of education themselves, which we know correlates strongly with children's academic outcomes regardless of travel. But most important of all, they have the financial resources to not just afford travel, but to afford the kind of travel that's educational, like museum visits, cultural experiences, guided tours with educational components. They're not stressed about missing work or losing income when they take these trips. These parents often have what researchers call higher cultural capital. They're comfortable navigating new environments, they know how to research destinations, they feel confident engaging with educational opportunities in unfamiliar places. And this is the critical part. Every single one of these factors independently predicts better academic achievement, increased curiosity, stronger adaptability, and greater cultural awareness in children. We have decades of research showing that socioeconomic status is one of the strongest predictors of educational outcomes. A 2023 systematic review found that family income, parental education, and occupational status together explain a significant portion of the variance in children's academic achievement. Another study from the International Journal of Educational Development showed that parents with higher socioeconomic status invest more in their children's education through attention, support, and resources, and their children consistently perform better academically. So when we see the children who travel are, generally or regularly scoring higher on academic tests, we have to ask, is it the travel or is it everything else that comes with being in a family that can afford regular travel? Let me give you a perfect example of why this matters. There was a study published in the Journal of Educational Psychology that found children who took family trips achieved about 1% higher scores on reading and math tests. That sounds like evidence for travel benefits, but when you dig into the methodology, the researchers didn't adequately control for socioeconomic factors. They didn't account for the fact that families who take regular trips also tend to have more books at home, spend more time reading with their children, live in neighborhoods with better schools, and have parents who are more involved in their education. And we know from decades of research that having books in the home is one of the most influential factors in student achievement. We know that parental involvement and educational expectations are massive predictors of academic success. We know that neighborhood resources and school quality matter enormously. The travel study didn't separate these factors from the travel itself. So that 1% improvement could be entirely explained by the fact that families who travel also do all these other things that boost academic achievement. So the benefits of travel might be real, but they might also have nothing to do with visiting new places. When families travel together, they're often spending concentrated, uninterrupted time together. Kids are getting their parents' full attention, without work distractions. There's often more conversation, more shared experiences, more one-on-one interaction. But guess what? You can create all those same conditions without ever leaving your hometown. A day at the local library, a picnic in the park where you actually engage with your kids, even a staycation where you put away devices and focus on family time. All of these could potentially create the same benefits that are being attributed to travel. So, what does high quality research actually tell us about child development and enriching experiences? First, the most important factor in children's cognitive and academic development is the quality of their relationships with their caregivers. Responsive, engaged parenting consistently predicts better outcomes regardless of income level or access to travel. Second, what matters the most for cognitive development is variety and novelty in experiences. But those experiences don't have to be expensive or far from home. A 2022 study from the University of Washington found that children who engaged in diverse activities with high parental involvement showed the strongest development gains. And many of these activities were things like cooking together, exploring local parks, or visiting community centers. Third, the research on cultural awareness and empathy shows that these qualities develop through meaningful conversations about differences and diversity, exposure to different perspectives through books and stories, and practicing perspective taking in daily life. You don't need to travel to Paris to teach your child about different cultures when you can visit ethnic restaurants in your city, read books about children from different backgrounds, or volunteer in diverse community settings. So, what I'm trying to say with all of this is that the real magic ingredient isn't the travel, it's intentional, engaged time with caring adults who are present and responsive to children's needs and interests. And if you want more ideas, activities, and strategies on how to engage meaningfully with your children at home, check out unamind.com, where we have all the information you need to enhance your child's development. I'll leave the link in the description box below. And also, I want to be clear, I'm not anti-travel. Family trips can be wonderful experiences that create lasting memories and potentially provide learning opportunities. But let's get honest about what's actually driving better developmental outcomes. The children who benefit from travel are the ones whose families are already doing all the other things that support healthy development. They're reading together, having meaningful conversations, providing emotional support, setting appropriate boundaries, and creating enriching experiences on a regular basis. Travel is like the cherry on top, not the foundation. Travel can absolutely be a wonderful addition to a child's life, but it's not a substitute for fundamental things that actually drive healthy development. Consistent, loving relationships, regular engagement with learning, emotional safety, and the kind of presence that helps children feel valued and understood. So, if this video changed how you think about travel claims or child development research, please hit that subscribe button. And I genuinely want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me, what's one enriching experience you've created for your child that didn't require travel? Remember, great parenting isn't about what you can afford to do for your children. It's about how present and intentional you are with whatever resources you have. I'll see you next week.